Welcome in, everyone. We have breaking news right now, and this situation is developing extremely fast, faster than we've seen in a while. And you need to stay with me because what we're getting right now is not just another update. This could be a major turning point. We are seeing multiple reports coming in that a secret US operation inside Iran may have just been exposed, and almost immediately after that, chaos is being reported across several areas. We're talking explosions, confusion on the ground, and at the same time, new indications that this was not supposed to be public. This was covert. This was hidden, and now it's out. So stick with me here, because the details are coming in rapidly, and this is where it starts to get serious. Before we go any further, make sure to like and subscribe. It's completely free, and it helps the channel a lot. And if you want real-time updates as situations unfold like this, you do not want to miss what's coming next. Also, let me know in the comments. Do you think this escalates further? Because based on what we're seeing right now, this could just be the beginning. Alright, let's get into it. So here's what we know at this moment. Early reports indicate that multiple US assets may have been operating inside Iranian territory in what is being described as a covert mission, and that operation may have been compromised or exposed, triggering a rapid chain of events. Now, at nearly the same time, we are getting reports of explosions across multiple locations, and here's where it gets interesting because initial visuals that are starting to circulate appear to show more than one impact zone. That suggests coordination. That suggests planning. This was not random. Now stick with me here because this next part adds another layer. We are now hearing that Iranian security forces may have responded quickly after signs of this operation were detected. There are reports of movement, alerts being triggered, and possible engagements on the ground or in the air. That means this was not uncontested. This was active. And this is where things begin to escalate. Because according to additional sources, there are indications that whatever operation was underway may have faced resistance and possibly even direct confrontation. Now, we don't have full confirmation on outcomes yet, but the fact that this is even being suggested tells you how intense the situation may have become. Now hold that thought, because it gets even more serious. We're also hearing that this may not have been a single isolated operation. There are growing signals that multiple actions may have been taking place simultaneously, and when you combine that with the explosions being reported, this starts to look like something much larger. And I'm going to show you something here. Footage coming out, again still being verified, shows flashes, smoke, and what appear to be multiple bursts of light across the skyline. In some clips, you can see the ground lighting up in sequence. That's not random, that's coordinated. Now here's where things take another turn. We are now getting early reactions suggesting that officials are becoming aware of what may have happened, and responses are beginning to form. And if that turns into action, this could escalate very quickly. So now it's not just about what happened, it's about what happens next. And this is critical, because at the same time, there are reports that military readiness levels in the region may be increasing. That tells you preparation is already underway.
Now stick with me because this next update is important, and it adds even more tension to what we're seeing right now. There are also unconfirmed reports suggesting that some of the locations tied to this alleged operation may have been highly sensitive, possibly linked to strategic infrastructure or intelligence activity. And if that turns out to be true, it would explain both the secrecy and the intensity of the response we're seeing. But it also raises a much bigger question. Was this operation discovered mid-execution? Or was it being tracked all along? Because those are two very different scenarios. Now, I also want to point out something else here. Timing. The exposure of this operation and the reported chaos appear to have happened almost simultaneously. That's not coincidence. That suggests a trigger event. Something happened that caused everything to unfold at once. So this was not random. This was reactive. And that's why this situation is so serious. Now, as of right now, we are still waiting on confirmation regarding the exact nature of the operation, potential casualties, and whether any assets were lost or compromised. But even without that information, the pattern tells us a lot. This was significant, and it may still be ongoing. Now we're getting new reports right now, and I'm going to get to those in just a second. But first you need to understand something. The sequence we're seeing here matters. Possible covert presence, exposure, immediate response, explosions, movement. That is a chain reaction. And chain reactions escalate. Now here's the next layer. There are indications that communication channels in certain areas may have been disrupted shortly after these events began. That suggests systems may have been impacted, either intentionally or as a result of the unfolding situation. And if communications are affected, that changes how quickly responses can be coordinated. Now hold on, because this connects directly to what we're hearing next. Emergency movements have reportedly been observed in multiple locations, suggesting rapid response deployment. That tells you again, this is not contained. This is spreading. And here's where it escalates further. Some sources are suggesting that individuals may have been present at key points during these events, raising the possibility of casualties. Now again, nothing fully confirmed yet, but if that becomes verified, the pressure for escalation increases significantly. So now we're moving from exposure to impact. And that is a major turning point. Now we're also hearing that monitoring systems may have detected continued activity even after the initial chaos. That suggests this situation is not over. And I'm going to break that down in a second, because that's where this starts to move into a much bigger picture. And this is where it gets serious, because what we're learning right now suggests that this situation may be evolving beyond just a single exposed operation and into something much more complex, much more unpredictable. And you need to stay with me here, because this next part could change everything. We're getting new reports right now that activity linked to this incident may still be ongoing. And that's critical, because it means whatever was happening did not simply stop when it was exposed. It may still be unfolding. Now think about that for a second. If an operation is exposed and activity continues afterward, that suggests either contingency plans were triggered or additional elements were already in motion. And I'm going to connect that to something else in just a moment, because it builds into a much larger picture. But first, stick with me here. We are also seeing increasing indications that coordination is happening behind the scenes at a very high level. And what that means is decisions are being made in real time. Not after review, not after delay. Right now. And when decisions are being made that quickly, it usually means the situation is unstable. Now this is where it intensifies even further. Because alongside that, there are now reports that certain areas may have been secured or restricted following the exposure of this operation. Movement is being controlled. Access is being limited. And that tells you something important may have been affected. You don't restrict areas like that unless there's something significant to contain. So now we're looking at exposure, response, containment, all happening at once. And that's a major signal. Now I want you to visualize this, because the footage descriptions coming in are extremely intense. You've got sudden flashes in the distance, followed by rising smoke, multiple bursts of light in quick succession. In some cases, witnesses are describing a delay between the flash and the sound, which tells you the scale of these events was large enough to be seen from far away. That's not minor. That's substantial. And this is where it gets even more serious. Because if these events were centered around key locations, the implications could be significant. We're talking possible infrastructure disruption, equipment loss, and again, potential casualties, which we still don't have confirmed, but remain a major factor. Now hold on, because this next update is critical. We are getting indications that discussions may already be underway regarding next steps. And again, nothing officially confirmed yet, but the fact that planning is being discussed tells you this is moving beyond reaction. It's moving toward action. And action changes everything. Now the question becomes, how controlled is that action? Or does it escalate? Because once multiple sides begin to respond, things can move very quickly. Now stick with me, because this next detail connects directly to that risk. Defensive measures in the region are not being reduced. In fact, they may be increasing. That means anticipation is still high. No one is standing down. Everything remains active. And that's the key word. Active. Because when everything is active, the margin for error becomes very small. Now let's go back to something we mentioned earlier. The idea that this was not isolated. Because the more information we get, the more that becomes clear. Multiple signals, continued activity, coordinated patterns. This points to something structured, something intentional, and possibly something ongoing. Now here's where it builds toward the most serious implications so far. If this situation triggers a broader response, the scale of that response will determine what happens next. A controlled reaction could stabilize things, but a large-scale escalation could expand it beyond control. And that is the scenario everyone is watching right now. Because that's how larger conflicts begin. One event, one response, then escalation. Now we're getting new reports right now, and I'm going to bring those to you as soon as they are confirmed. But here's what you need to understand. We are in a rapidly evolving situation. Nothing is fixed. Nothing is final. And the next development could change everything. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you think this escalates further? Or does it stop here? Because based on what we're seeing right now, this still feels like the beginning. Make sure to like and subscribe for real-time updates. Stay with the channel for the latest developments. And I'll see you in the next update.